My name is Lily. I am 29 years old. I live in San Diego. I was not looking for love. I was content with my quiet life. I worked at a small flower shop called Petal and Bloom. It smelled like roses and sunshine. I made bouquets for birthdays, weddings, and funerals. I loved the quiet beauty of flowers. They spoke without words. They understood joy and pain, just like people. Every morning I drank coffee by the window. I liked the way the light touched the petals. I liked the soft sounds of the street. I believed in love, but I was careful. My heart had been hurt before. I did not want pain again. Then everything changed. He walked in on a Wednesday. He wore a dark blue shirt. His hair was a little messy. His smile was calm. He asked for white lilies. "They're for my mother," he said. "She loves lilies." He looked into my eyes when he spoke. His name was Adam. He came again the next day. This time he asked for sunflowers. "They're for a friend," he said, smiling. "She needs some light in her life." We talked a little. He asked if I always worked with flowers. I told him I loved them. He said that was beautiful. He started coming often. Sometimes he bought flowers. Sometimes he just talked to me. I began to wait for him. I started wearing my favorite earrings. I smiled more, but even in his warmth, there were flickers of distance. He never stayed too long. He never checked his phone in front of me. He avoided questions about where he lived. Once, when I asked about his weekend plans, he paused, just for a second, before smiling and changing the subject. He was gentle, funny, smart. He listened when I spoke. He made me feel seen, like I mattered. It had been a long time since I felt that way. One evening, he waited for me after work. "Want to get coffee?" he asked. I said yes. We talked for hours about books, music, childhood memories. He told me he worked in marketing, that his parents were divorced, that he lived alone. I believed him. I let myself fall. We saw each other almost every day. I told him things I had never told anyone, my fears, my dreams, my pain. He held my hand and said, "You're safe with me." I thought I had found love, not the kind in movies, the real kind. The kind that feels quiet and steady, like home. We had been seeing each other for nearly 3 months. I introduced him to my coworker, Elena, who said he seemed nice, if a little hard to read. I told my sister about him over the phone, but I hadn't introduced them. "Take your time," she said. "Just make sure he's real." I laughed then, but now I wish I had listened harder. But love should never hide in shadows. He never showed me his house. He never introduced me to his friends. I asked once, and he said, "Soon." I believed him. I wanted to believe him. Then came the night I will never forget. It was raining. I was closing the shop. My phone rang. It was a woman's voice. "Is this Lily?" she asked. "Yes," I said, confused. "You don't know me, but I'm Adam's wife," she said, her voice trembling. My heart stopped. "I didn't want to do this," she continued, "but I found your number on his phone. I had to know, and now you should know too." "We have 2 children," she added, voice breaking. "I'm sorry, I needed to tell you." Then she hung up. I stood there in the shop, surrounded by flowers, feeling like the air had been taken from my lungs. The roses wilted in the cold, wet air. I sank to the floor. He lied. He used me. All those smiles, all those words, all those promises, lies, every one of them. I tried to call him. No answer. I texted. No reply. I even went to the coffee shop where we had our first date. I waited. Nothing. The next day he didn't come, or the next, or the next. He disappeared, and I was left alone, with shame, with pain, with questions that had no answers. How could I not see it? Why did I trust him? Why did I let myself believe? The days were heavy. I cried at night. I smiled for customers during the day. But I was breaking in teeth. I felt stupid. I felt dirty. I felt broken. I started to avoid people. I stopped talking to my friends. I didn't tell anyone. I was too ashamed. But something inside me was still alive. A small voice, a whisper. You are more than this. It was soft, but it was real. So I started writing. I wrote letters I never sent. To him, to myself, to the woman I used to be. I poured my heart onto paper. The pain, the lies, the silence. One night, I wrote his name on a piece of paper and burned it in a bowl on my balcony. It felt silly, but watching it curl into ash gave me peace. Not closure, but something close. I went to the ocean. I sat on the sand. I watched the waves crash again and again. They reminded me that even broken things move forward. I began to speak to myself with kindness. You were lied to, but that is not your fault. You were used, but you are not weak. You were hurt, but you are still here. Slowly, I began to heal. One afternoon, a customer came in. She was crying. She needed flowers for her sister, who had just gone through a breakup. I helped her choose soft pink peonies. They mean healing, I said gently. She looked at me and asked, Have you ever been through something like this? I nodded, just once. She hugged me before she left. That was the moment I realized my pain had changed me. But it had not destroyed me. It made me more understanding, more open, more real. Adam never came back. I don't know if he ever told his wife the truth. I don't know if he remembers me. I don't need to know. Because this story is not about him anymore. It's about the woman who was left in the ruins and chose to rebuild. It's about reclaiming the parts of myself I thought were gone. I was broken, but I put myself back together. I was lost, but I found something deeper, myself. Now when I touch the petals of a flower, I feel more. The softness, the strength, the way they bloom again after every season. Just like me. If this story touched your heart, I hope you'll share it. Maybe someone out there needs to hear that healing is possible, that they are not alone, that even in heartbreak, there is hope. More emotional and inspiring stories are coming soon. Stay with me.